Hello.
Well, we've got Emmy on the first one instead of us. Oops. Well, I was doing so well.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now, you're going to be very upset if you came here tonight thinking that tonight is going to be a tarot night, because it's not. This is the night where you get to ask your weird and wonderful paranormal and supernatural questions with us, Anne and Renata from Frightfully Good, Ice Paratech and Newcastle Ghost Tours. We have been in the business, if you've never met us before, for many, many years in combination in total. This one's travelled around the world a number of times, been to a whole lot of haunted places. She has investigated with the likes of Dave Schrader and what's his face over in America?
Bill Chappell.
Yeah, Bill Chappell, name dropping.
Grant and...
all of them, all of the fancy people that you see on TV and on all of the shows. She's been there. She's done that.
Yeah. Is this a Stroke Anne's ego night or something?
It is. And little old me,
She's investigated with me.
Yeah. And I've been doing my own stuff for the last 30 odd years.
And what we're asking you to do this evening is to pop your questions into the comments. Dave, you've already sent your through to me. Hello, Mr. Chandler, Cousin Steve. You had a rough week, my love. Thank you for sending your invoice through. Where's the ukulele and the rubber chicken?
Not tonight.
Auntie Anne's feeling very poorly.
Not tonight. Auntie Anne has been slaughtered by a dentist, and she's not going to be playing anything at all. She's going to be playing on our nerves. That's about all she's going to be playing.
Well, I'm not even going to probably be doing that at the moment. I'm a bit rough around the edges. Like literally, my wisdom tooth was pulled this morning at lunchtime, and it had a massive infection behind it, so I haven't been well, and I've just had a Valium, so this is going to be very interesting. Jeez. All right.
Oh, Virginia, that's a really great question. That's a really good question. Who came up with the idea that it's good to use that on for moving spirits? I'm not sure. I can't actually answer that. I know that the whole sage thing goes back to the American Indians, but most older cultures or pagan cultures have some sort of smoking ceremony. And often that smoking ceremony is for the places where they live. And it's also the ceremony for fumigating people, for lifting up spirits and energies and entities and things, because they lived in a society that believed a lot in the supernatural world, because they had to. Science wasn't invented back then. They had to work out why all of these things happen, bad stuff, and why, things occur. So they told stories to make that happen, and to make sense out of those things. So smoking ceremonies have been around for thousands of years. People being, cleansed and cleared through smoke, again, has been around for hundreds of years. I guess this was something that kind of developed in the whole side of things when it came to people believing that they could hold on to bad spirits too. And so smoking was going to be something that would clear them and clear off the energies. So you're probably looking at something that's been around for a really, really long time. Ghost hunters have just kind of adopted it as part of what they...
Cultural appropriation, I do believe you call it.
Adopted as part of what they believe is going to fix issues. Does it? It does in a way.
The Native American Indian culture where they used sage as part of their ceremonies.
Yeah, that's what I said at the beginning.
Okay, obviously the drugs haven't kicked in yet. But also smoke, like salt, is used to preserve food, which is something that staves off putrefaction, rotting of the flesh. So it is looked as something that can preserve, which is why salt and sometimes smoke is used as a way to remove the negativity. But I think it's now people are using it it gets rid of spirits apparently.
Yeah.
But it's actually only supposed to remove negativity. Or negative energies.
Again, the interpretation of the original use for it has been lost because people find it difficult to, because they it gets very convoluted, and this is kind of the number of things I get asked in the shop when I work in the shop is quite interesting, because you'll have people that come in and go,
we're coming back.
How do I use this? So you explain how to use sage. And yeah, there are things like, do I hold it in my left hand or do I hold it in my right hand? Should I go from the front door to the back door? All these rules and regulations. And you go, when did that all come in? When did all of this happen? Where you had rules and regulations of whether you're doing it right, and it doesn't work if you don't have one of those shells and a feather. So we've kind of created this chaos around something that is supposed to be really pure and work with your mind to make it happen.
When I started, I went out, I saw what they were doing on TV, and I went and got my abalone shell, I went and got my turkey feather, and I got my sage, and I copied what they were doing with no real clear understanding of what I was doing. Yindiyamara, we have had smoking ceremonies for 80,000 plus years. Yes. It cleanses as well as gets rid of bad spirits. Yes. Also, using eucalyptus leaves is great for sinus.
Yes. Yes. And I don't understand why we in Australia don't use more of our trees, our indigenous trees, in our smoking rituals and in our
because that's not on
TV,
rituals. Renata.
Everyone comes in and buys sage. But we have our trees here that do exactly the same thing. And people go, oh, but no, I want sage.
Yep.
And there's an issue with sage because everyone's burning the shit. It's not growing fast enough.
And the Palo Santo.
Yeah, Palo Santo. Palo Santo isn't known as well as sage, but it's something that's really, difficult now to get hold of.
Because they're not ethically taking it.
No. This is a good question. I have a question. Who takes the best paranormal photos on investigations? Look, I would love Xena to have time. Yeah, it's Xena. It's Xena. Xena does it. I'd love to have time to actually take photos and spend time investigating. But when we go out on investigations, it's about looking after other people in most cases, so we don't get time.
She's talking about her photos she took at the residence.
Absolutely know that. You are the best person to take
You
photos.
Are. All right, Emma, what should you do if you see a spirit? Get a shot glass and have a drink.
Oh, look, it depends on what circumstances you see them in. And in most cases, it's a bit of a shock to the system. So people automatically become fearful because it's something that they weren't expecting. And so sometimes the belief is, oh my gosh, look at that. Oh, it's going to come for me and it's going to hurt me. In most cases, these sort of things disappear. I actually, let me tell you. Yesterday, I came home after the Royal Milk Factory seance thing.
Yes.
And I went, my husband wasn't home, he was out. And I went in to go and have a shower. And as I came out of where our laundry and bathroom is, I heard a man's voice. And it sounded like it was kind of upstairs, which is where our door entry is. So I thought my husband had come home because it was like, I thought she was talking to the dogs, like he normally comes in and he says, hi, and talks to the dogs. And so I've walked out and I'm listening and there's no one. There's absolutely no one. And those voices were a really strong male voice. So when my husband came home, I asked him and I said, have you heard a man's voice in the house? And he actually said, yeah, he heard it 2 days beforehand in exactly the same spot I did. Couldn't make out what the voice was saying. It was a male voice and from exactly the same spot. Now, 2 days ago, also, we have a set of stairs that come down into our sort of lounge room area. The stairs aren't covered in carpet because we can't afford that. So they're just the plain steps and they creak when you walk up and down them. And we were both sitting down watching TV and you heard a creak on a step upstairs. Now, you've got to put weight on those steps for them to creak. So one creak. Then you heard another one, a couple of steps down. And then you heard another one, a couple of steps down.
Oh, they're walking down the stairs.
And we both looked at each other and went,
hello.
And they've never done that. I've never heard that happen before.
Did you ask who it was?
No, I didn't bother. Whatever.
Whatever. So what should you do if you see a spirit? Say hello.
Say hello. Take a moment to say hello. See if they actually interact or whether they're just there. So you may be visibly seeing something that did exist at a moment in time and you're like literally kind of seeing it as some sort of a holographic image from your head. If they turn around and they actually note you, then that's really interesting because that's something that is existing in the now. And that's when you want to sort of start having a conversation or seeing what that particular spirit is wanting and why it is there. So the first thing is to work out whether they are just an image, an imprinted image that you're visually seeing.
So like a psychic impression.
Psychic impression, or whether they are wanting to, whether there's an intelligence behind it and they're actually interacting with you or going to interact with you.
Thank you, Emmy. Jody said, hello, ladies. Question. Can you get an attachment to a doll you have taken to an investigation? That's actually a really good question too.
Yeah, look.
Could they take a shine to it if there's a spirit there that thinks, I love that doll. I want to be with that doll.
I don't know. Look, I'm not.
Well, I mean, humans can supposedly take hitchhikers home with them. So
yeah, but you're a living, breathing energy. The doll is a stagnant, lifeless item.
But would you then say that there are, like there's supposed to be haunted dolls and items throughout the world, they have some sort of energy attached to them? Is that different to an entity attaching itself to a non-living item?
It depends on whether you believe that there are things as haunted objects that are living haunted objects that are a vessel for something.
Yeah, so possibly a vessel, because some of those dolls and things that have had attachments to them were made with locks of hair or items of that person's being, and it's sort of literally been made as a vessel. And like that's what dolls were sometimes used for, weren't they? To be vessels for the spirits.
Yes.
Historically.
Yes.
Not now.
Yeah.
So is it possible? It's possible, but if it's your doll and you don't want them to be there, you just say, I don't give you permission to attach yourself to my item. You must leave and go back to where you've come from.
Yeah, and it's this, you're talking about a certain level of intelligence with the spirit as well. And look, use a smoking ceremony and
get your smudge out.
Cleanse your doll. Cleanse the doll. And make a note and say you will not come into this item.
And Maddie that's watching, are you the Maddie that was from Sheffield that you sent us that beautiful book? We've missed you. Right, what else we got there? Got some more questions. So you've been watching a lot of the John Edwards and Teresa Caputo stuff. Yeah, now I find them interesting. I like watching the Teresa's tells when she's connecting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how legit these people are. It's really hard to tell these days. I don't know. I mean, we see the best of Teresa because they cut it, so we see the best of Teresa. They're not going to show you the stuff where she has misses, and she will have misses. Everyone has misses. I sort of like her. I do. John Edwards, he's okay too, I suppose. As long as they're doing no harm and they're helping people heal from grief and trauma, I think that's probably the most important thing for me.
The thing is that a lot of these people do the good work when you don't see it. The stuff that you see is really lots of entertainment and lots of social media content for them to build their profiles. But the good work they actually do is probably the stuff that you never see, which then you can go, this is where they're actually helping people. This is where they help the police. This is where they help the people that are grieving. And in most cases, that will never be shown. So they can't highlight that. They can't say that sort of stuff that's coming through. That's probably, the really awesome stuff that they do. The stuff that is online and that you can see, like those things that John Edwards does in those huge arenas, how he can possibly pick someone that has a spirit there when they're kind of sitting in the back row. They're like a little fly on the wall out the back there.
Well, if you watched that last...
It's just beyond me. I just don't know how that happens.
If you watched the last Twin Peaks series that came out, and he was in this altered state where he was at the casino, and he could tell when that machine was going to have a win because these signs would go flashing above it. So maybe that's what happens to John Edwards, is there's a little light bulb flashing above that person and he can pick them. Yeah. I don't know, but normally he goes, there is somebody in these 300 people over here that has a male in spirit. A male in spirit. So half the audience put up their hand.
I think that's really hard, and it's something that people clamour to see, but I'm not sure if it's the right way to do things. I don't, but it's been happening like that since the 1800s, honestly. Yeah.
And our beautiful Jen Williams, we have changed things. You probably haven't heard. We are now doing our tarot show on the first Thursday of the month, and now we're doing paranormal Q&A on the third Thursday of the month. So we're mixing up a bit because we're putting more content up on YouTube, which is taking a little bit more time. Speaking of which, has anyone seen our new little video that we've put up? What is it again?
Seriously weird.
Yeah, so it's just little stories, true stories that have happened to people. and we're putting them up onto YouTube for you to have a listen to and comment about. What have we got down here?
Amy's got a bit of a question.
Hi, girls. If you're watching something on YouTube about someone doing a ghost tour or on their own hunt, can it bring spirits to your house? Last night I was watching something and I saw shadows. I do pick things up, but 2 days ago in Moonby, Tamworth house, installing curtains and felt someone behind me and just said, "Hello, I'm aware of you," which is a very nice, polite thing to do.
Yeah. And the two things probably have nothing to do with each other. You are obviously have a bit of a gift in feeling and sensing energy. So, when you were watching that particular show on TV, you may have been picking up on some energies that were there that they didn't even know were there, but you could see them through the TV. But this house in Tamworth, whatever was there probably belonged to the house, and they knew that you knew that they were there, so they said hello to you.
And please excuse my slurred speech tonight. For those who have just come on, I've had my wisdom tooth removed today and I'm a little bit of a mess, but I'm here. Now, as for watching a YouTube show or a TV show, now I know Zach Bogans did this whole thing about the demons can come through the TV set and there'll be people that will be influenced and attacked by this demon. Now, there would be thousands of people who would have watched those shows, and there will be a percentage of people the next day that will have a car accident or will slip over or will have their purse stolen. And it's not because they've watched those TV shows. It's just life. And it was a coincidence that that person happened to watch that show and that happened. It is nothing to do with the ghosts or the demons or whatever it is. That is just a way to promote their show, because the people who are, I don't want to say gullible, but they're influenced easily, will watch that thing and take him for his word that it will happen, and then attribute any bad thing that happens to them. It must be the demon, they've come for me.
Because they believe him.
They believe him.
They believe him.
And I haven't listened to Nick Groff. What happened? Did he say anything?
He hasn't said anything yet. Any updates on the Nick Groff, Zach Bacon stuff that's going on? Everyone stirred the pot. And you get to a point where you become so disbelieving of all of this that you wonder whether they're doing this for ratings, whether it's all just gone flat.
Yep.
And they're stirring the pot just for ratings to get people to watch them again and look at them again, because it's kind of, there's so much saturation now of ghost shows that they're going to ruin each other because there's too many. And everyone wants a piece of the pie, and you go, I can't watch 20 shows. I can't watch 50 shows. So instead of there being a couple of shows and everybody watching those, there's so many that all of these shows are only getting a small percentage of viewership now. And
people are watching it on YouTube. They don't need to watch it on TV.
It's all going to fall flat on its face.
Yindumara said, please do not suck on that straw near the microphone because he could almost tell you what flavour it was.
Sorry.
And when you're moving it up and down, it sounds like the rubber chicken with the straw.
Sorry.
Sarah, beautiful. This is not the reading show tonight. This is the Paranormal Q&A. We only do our readings on the first Thursday of the month now. All right, we've got some more questions here. Thank you for sending those through. So we're answering your paranormal questions at the moment. Cousin Steve, TV would have us believe evil spirits or demons are everywhere, but is spirit energy just like living humans and to be judged on a sliding scale of assholeism?
Look, the problem with all of this is, and if you have a really, really good think about it, right, what some of these people are doing with the whole spirits and demons thing is exactly the same as the Catholic Church. Catholic Church spent centuries scaring us all silly with demonic entities and demons and Satan and all of this happening, and it's all out there and it's all going to get to us. if we're not doing the right thing, if we're not following the rules. And so you kind of think, look, I got out of that for a reason. The reason was you were feeding me bullshit. You're trying to control me. And so my mind goes to, why am I now expected to, and I've made a choice to go into the paranormal world and to delve into this and connect with spirit energy and everything. And now they're filling my life again with demons and entities that are crawling around in that space and they're going to hurt me and everything. I got out of that when I left Catholicism. So for me, yeah, Steve, you are right. It's a sliding scale of assholism, and you have to always ask yourself: are they creating pain so that they can solve it, so that they can have some say about solving it? Because I mean, Christianity, sorry, but you've got to come to confession and confess your sins, and then you will be absolved. So it's not a far jump to what's going on with the whole demon thing now in every house.
I think also if you're a dickhead in life and you died and you had the chance to annoy people, you'd be a dickhead in death as well. That's just one of my things. Do you recommend people burn sage when they first move into a new place just in case their home is negative? I reckon you can do it if that's going to make you feel better about moving into your house. It's just like going through and spraying Glen 20 to make sure that the house is clean. And it gives you a nice fresh start. You've got rid of all the stinky smells from the last people that were in there before you. So a little sage ceremony, claim that house as your own, I think is a nice thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe chuck some eucalyptus leaves in there
Play
as well.
some beautiful music.
Yeah.
Put some lovely things down that make that house your own. Some great, fabulous affirmations on the walls to begin with that kind of put really good energy into that space. And make the house yours.
Yin Yamara said, I do a chant as a welcome while doing a smoking. This is the smoking ceremony. You can only use one type of eucalyptus leaves. So
okay.
You have to be careful about that. I think he actually did mention which ones they were. So thank you for that. What's your favourite paranormal TV show?
I don't get any of those channels, so I can't watch them.
I do like Kindred Spirits because they think a little bit like me. I like Amy and Adam. Can I say that they're 100% legitimate? I don't know. I mean, wait till we see the non-disclosure agreements. We'll find out, hey? But they do seem like reasonable people. We are now trying to have a look around at some other shows that are on YouTube because we are restructuring a little bit what we're doing with our channel. As you can see, we've got new offerings on and we are going to divide things up, which I won't tell you about because I know Cousin Steve's done a little promo. So, yeah, I like Kindred Spirits. I used to like the one with Amy Allen and the detective guy because I like the whole idea of she would come up with information and he separately would go and research the history of the house and who had been there, and then they came together and worked out what overlapped with what was happening. Again, can I say that that's a true show? I don't know, but I enjoyed the format of the show. Okay. Lisa, see, this is going to be a humdinger. What qualities make an EVP recording compelling to you both? Can you describe it? An example you have heard.
That's your section.
To do a good EVP session, it's almost like a scientific control. You need to know that there are no other sound sources that could be contaminating what you're doing. You have to be on the ball with your marking of any sounds you hear, even the littlest sound, mark it. That's like if you just hear a chair creak, you say chair creak, someone whispered, car going past, because when you go back to review it later, you forget. I like it when you get an intelligent response to a question that is asked, because that means that something's heard you and is responding. My very first EVP session, my very first EVP I ever got was a male voice in a location in the bush where there were 3 females, and those other 2 females were nowhere near me. So that was compelling to me. Another thing you should do with an EVP, if you do get one, you cut it out and try to do as little manipulation of the sound as you possibly can by putting filters and things. It should be nice and clear without having to manipulate it, and you send it to someone and say, I think I can hear something here. What do you hear? Don't say, oh, I hear it saying, eat a banana. Because that's what the person will hear, because their brain is programmed to hear that. So it's really important you don't pre-program the idea of what you think it may be. Afterwards, you can compare notes, but don't let them work out what it is on their own first. I have been sent EVPs where there's people chatting and going on in the background, and I have to discard that. There is so much noise going on that how can you know that that's not just somebody nearby? So for me, it needs to be really clean, clear, and controlled environment. Which is why I blow the whistle and say, ask the question now. Stop talking when we do our investigations. I hope that answers your question. But the Warrens have heaps of haunted objects, runs and ducks for cover.
They do.
Oh, we've got a lot of stuff that's come through.
They do.
Oh, Valerie, haven't you heard about that? You have to listen to this week's Diary of a Ghost Hunter, because we talk about the non-disclosure agreements that are about to be lifted. I liked Holzer Files too. I did like Holzer Files. I know Dave Schrader personally, and I do believe that he would not do bullshit. Oh, scrolling.
Yeah, Tammy, it's really weird when you do hear your name being called out. It does happen. It can happen on occasion. It may not actually be attached to anything, and it may be a one-off. And there's kind of a terminology that they use for that. It's called a jot.
Hi, Sharon.
Just one of those things. And it kind of sits in that basket of it's happened once, it may never happen again, have no idea why or how it happened. And there's no real reasoning for it. I mean, you can pick it apart to 1,000 pieces and try and find a reasoning of how, why, and what. But whether you're right or not, especially if it doesn't continue. But I've heard my name being called a couple of times as well. Yeah, you just go, oh, yeah, okay. Don't know. Maybe it's a bit of a sign or a signal for you to be aware of situations that are around you.
Thank you for those people who've sent super stickers and stars. It's just not showing up in the feed, and I'm not quite sure why. I will try to get onto that and work out what is happening, but very much appreciated. Right, Miss Ghosthead, is it safe to investigate in cemeteries? If so, how would you go about it safely so we don't bring any friends home?
Cemeteries are a real issue, especially in Australia. There are cemeteries overseas that people go into all the time and do things. In Australia, it's really looked at with a high sense of what's a good word you can use? Disgust. Let me just say that. So you have to be careful, Miss Ghosted, where you go and that you are safe. And when I'm saying you're safe, it's not about the ghosts that you have to worry about. It's the people that are going to be there. We have had cemeteries where we have been given an allowance to go into. We've been allowed to go in there by the people that manage the cemetery site or look after the cemetery site. One of those cemeteries became a kind of a centre for drug dealing, and you'd go down this long driveway, dirt road, and there was kind of only one way in and one way out. And you'd be in the midst of the cemetery doing these things with, with people. Again, we were allowed on that site, and all these cars would drive in, and they'd be dealing drugs and things, and that just creates an unsafe experience for everyone, and we ended up having to stop that there. There was another cemetery that we worked in for quite a number of years, and the local people, or one local person, got their knickers in a knot about it, and literally made us leave, to a point where we were humiliated in local newspapers.
Oh, you were dancing on graves and slaughtering chickens.
Yeah, dancing on graves and slaughtering chickens,
yeah.
And it was all over the newspapers, and it was a whole terrible thing. And yet we were given total clear permission. We were showing how we dealt with the history of the place, all of that sort of stuff. So, Miss Ghosted, I would suggest to you, it's never about the spirits that are there, because you're just trying to communicate. You're just trying to get a story out. You're not there to, damage gravestones or do anything. You're normally just there as interest, and you're wanting to be really respectful and everything. Totally get your point of view. But when you get to people who are really positive, angry that you're there, and that you might be going and desecrating their loved one's
they're offended,
space.
But that's their perception. It's some people are offended by things, and they feel because they're offended by it, the world should be offended by it as well. And you are a bad person if you're not offended the same way as they are.
But it also only takes one or two people to, be really bad on cemetery sites, and that then makes it bad for everyone else. We've been to cemetery sites that have had, headstones kicked down and, broken and things, and they were perfectly good a week ago, and then some idiots have come in and disrupted it and broken things, and it's a horrible, horrible thing. Normally we give some money to some of the sites where we have done stuff at cemeteries, so we've given them money. We tend to take flowers as well, and place flowers on some of the headstones, which we do as a sign of respect, and just as, just being nice people, that, we're just paying respects before we do anything else. So that's another thing. But I really wouldn't worry about bringing things home, honestly. It's all about intent. When you leave, when you shut that gate, or when you move away, always say, look, I'm going home now. I am revoking all my permissions for you to speak with me or to follow me home. You must stay here, as I must go back to my family. Please find peace, be at peace. Thank you for your communications, and I'll see you next time. That's it. End of story.
Erin, thoughts? I'm a cleaner, and a particular house I clean fortnightly has a male entity, I believe. I've recently started meditating and putting up some boundaries. However, today, for the first time, I basically told it to leave me alone and stood up to it, basically. Then 10 minutes later, a glass smashed and it cut my leg. Then later tonight at home, my heat lamp cover randomly fell over and almost got me in the head. Is this a coincidence?
Could be.
Or have you yelled at the owner of the house in their own house?
It could be, Erin. And we always play devil's advocate here. We always go to what could be a logical explanation, because that's what you have to do. Not everything is paranormal. So it could be. But also what it's done for you is that it has put you in an energetic space that's different from when you are cool and calm and everything's fine. You're in a heightened state of apprehension because you feel that you have had your space invaded by an energy form, and now this energy form may have followed you home. So everything is heightened. So what you really need to do is work with that, and whether it is coincidence or not, you have to sort of, I guess, look at how you are going to approach this energy and create those boundaries at home. The meditation that you're doing is probably putting you in a deeper state of connection. So maybe prior to going into this home, maybe don't do any meditation. Yeah, put your boundaries in. You don't have to meditate to put boundaries in, okay, because that's something that you do between your conscious and subconscious mind by just saying those words. You don't have to meditate, but maybe don't put yourself into a deeper state of awareness before you go and you do this cleaning house in this particular house, because it might just be opening you up too much. And then, you go home in this state and you're still kind of really feeling a little bit unsettled. Yeah.
Jem. Hi, Jem. A cemetery up here, this is in Queensland, they're trying to stop investigating. They have a petition. I think I know that particular one, and unfortunately there was a video that was put up online, if it's the one I'm thinking of. Was it out at Ipswich or somewhere? Which showed some very theatrical scenes, which people who have their loved ones in the cemetery wouldn't like that sort of thing happening, and that would upset them. So it's a very fine line to work in the cemeteries and do that sort of thing. You've got to be so super respectful and have the support of the community, like where we do Wallumbye, and we take flowers, as you said, to people who may not have had flowers laid on their graves or their headstones read in a long time, and it's an honour thing that we do there. Katie, about a week after my partner died, I came home and my coffee mugs were all placed in odd, high places all over the kitchen dining area. My first and only Jot experience.
Yeah, how
Wow.
Amazing. Wow.
Will we be doing any work in cemeteries on your upcoming travels? Well, we love to walk through cemeteries, and particularly at night. We don't necessarily sit around with the spirit boxes on and the K2s out and the cat balls. We might walk through with a spirit talker on. If anyone wants to reach out to us, they can. But we just love being in the cemeteries, particularly in England, because we are staying at the Sheffield Airbnb again. So Maddie put us onto that one, and we've stayed there once, and it was just beautiful. Loved it. So we're going back again. Let me get over now to these ones here. Interesting watching Dave Schrader on Ghost Adventures with Zach. I think early on, Ghost Adventures was a very different show. Very different show. But to maintain a series for that many years, you have to keep it exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be exciting all the time. Otherwise, people aren't going to watch it. They're not going to watch things that are boring or logical, because that's not what they're after in a show like that. They want to be scared. They want to see something that will make them think that there are things out there that they don't understand. It's normal. It's just a normal part of the psyche. That's what they're looking for. That's why they're watching those shows.
Yeah.
They're not watching the shows really to understand what's actually happening.
Lisa said just because some spirits can be nasty or mischievous doesn't mean they're demons. Exactly. They're just dickheads. Beck, hey Anna, Renata, is there a way people can become more in tune with the paranormal?
Practice and getting out and doing more investigations with groups that you can trust, and that create a safe experience for you. If you go out on your own, or if you're going out with someone, as Anne said, often it's just walking around and being very aware. Raising your ability to be very consciously in that moment. What we notice on tours a lot, and this is really hard to do because people are used to being distracted continuously. They're not used to being quiet and in silence and observing and listening and sensing and feeling. And yet that is what you must do when you are really wanting to connect. You have to be quiet. You have to listen to the environment. You have to put your energy out beyond yourself so that you can connect with all of those little changes that are happening around you. And people just aren't invested enough to spend time to do that. They want, like, when you say to them, what are you expecting tonight? I want to see a ghost.
Yeah.
I want to see a ghost. Let's make it that easy. I just want to see a ghost. Well, we'd all love that. Thank you very much. But sometimes you may wait your whole life and you won't. But yet your special connection might be through feeling or might be through hearing. And you're missing out on all of that because you are just waiting for that visual apparition, because that's all you think is going to make it true for you. Okay, I've got to see a ghost, then I'll know it's a ghost. But what if it's a projection from your mind? What if that's what you're seeing? A projection from your mind that is outside of yourself, that is an energy form, an entity, something that's paranormal, but it's coming from here. How does that change the perception then of what you're seeing? Because no one else is seeing it but you. It's far too complicated to work all of these things out. And we've got to be careful not to kind of compartmentalize everything because we think we know how it all works. We don't. We don't know how this shit works.
Yeah, the cemeteries are beautiful and everything is very green and there's moss everywhere and they've got so many headstones that are crammed into such a small space, and it's just it's my happy place.
I love reading the headstones,
yeah,
and the old stories and the way the headstones were created, and some of the way that people are remembered. It tells you a lot about the township that you are in, to how the cemetery looks. Yeah.
Now, this is a question from Dave, who was asking me about the spirit box. He was particularly wanting to know about the SB7. So, if or when should the sweep rate or reverse sweep be changed, or switch it on and away you go? So let's answer that part of it first. It is totally up to the individual to work out what's best for them. I personally like to set mine at 250, which is 4 stations per second. So we're talking about like spirit boxes like this, or these ones. That's the SB7. That's the new one. There's a brand new one out. You can go forwards. So when you're sweeping forwards through the numbers, it's that you're just going like 101.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4 forwards through the sweep. When you go backwards, it's 101.4, 0.3, 0.2, 0.1. It doesn't mean that they're speaking backwards. It's just sweeping backwards. I set it around 250 because that gives a little bit of a chance for words to pop out, because if they're using words from the radio frequencies, if it's going really fast where you're getting 10 stations per second, it's like it's too fast, you can't hear anything. Some people like that. I like to get a little bit of radio. Now some people don't like radio at all, and they will switch off, because on the SB11 you have the ability to switch off the antenna, so you just get white noise as it goes through the radio signal. So whatever comes through is of more interest, because where is it coming from if the antenna is not picking it up? Problem being, if you are holding the SB11 spirit box or any spirit box, you then become an antenna. It will come through you and into the box. It's like conductivity. Sorry, words are getting hard. I've had a Valium and I've had some heavy painkillers, and words are just starting to go bleh. So forwards or backwards, it doesn't matter. I like 250 because that's the nice rate for me, that I can hear bits and pieces. Should it be stored in a Faraday pouch? No. It's once it's turned off, it's off. The Faraday pouch is used to block radio signal.
It's kind of defeating the purpose of the spirit box.
Well, it
isn't it?
depends, because there are purists who say that you should not be relying on words coming through the radio frequencies. That, because remember how I always say the little talk that they're either choosing the words from the radio frequencies, from the radio shows, or the taxis going past to answer our questions, or they're using the sound of the white noise, the chaos of the sound, to form words to talk to us.
Mm-hmm.
So the purists are saying we shouldn't be using the radio because we can try and make stories out of that. And I get that, but there are the other ones who say, remove the antenna, make sure you've got no antenna, but then they'll stand there and they'll hold it, which they then become an antenna to pick up the signal, so that they're not using it properly. So the Faraday pouch is a metal material that you slide the spirit box into, which will block a good chunk of the radio waves coming through, which then makes it interesting when you do get voices coming through. But do not hold it. Make sure you put it down somewhere. Now, I understand the SB11 is essential to SB7s in one. Does it make a more versatile unit? It actually has a few more bells and whistles in it. It has a red flashlight on the top of it. It has a temperature sensor and alarm as well. And the beauty of it is if you want total chaos with the sound, you can have one of those radios tuned to AM, sweeping backwards. You can have the other one tuned to FM, sweeping forwards at different rates. So there's a lot of chaos of sound for the spirits to be able to work with. And you have a mute button on the side, so you can mute it. So you can ask a question and then unmute it, which can be quite useful as well. And as I said, also the switch to turn the antennas on and off, which is quite good. There are new devices out now, which is the ANC, which allows you to block that noise considerably, and all you'll get is the words that pop out. They are a little bit more expensive, but that's how they work. I hope I've answered your question, Dave. I hope that's got what you needed out of that. If you've got more questions, just let me know. Love visiting and looking after some of the old graves. Yeah. Seem to recall asking Renata, why is this happening to me? You said, who knows? Stop questioning it. Where are we up to?
I mean, some people don't go into this world at all. It doesn't interest them whatsoever. Some of them will get psychic impressions. Just because you're not interested in ghosts doesn't mean that you're not going to pick up something psychically. In most cases, they kind of just let it go because they're not interested in it. They don't want to know. They don't want any more information. And you've got the reverse. Some people who are just desperate for communication and desperate to be connected and desperate to know what's going on the other side. And they will consume everything that they can, and kind of it just never happens any deeper for them. And it just is the way it is. You can do a certain amount now that you never could before because you have all of this technology at your disposal, which makes it easier to be in the moment and get more things through. But you may not ever really do too much more with your own psychic abilities if you don't put in the time and practice to really develop that. Yeah, it's a skill set.
One of the things that we are enjoying using at the moment is something called the Spirit Talker. And this is this app here. I think it's only available on Android, Spirit Talker. I'm not sure. And we've had some crazy things come out on that, which, considering it doesn't access your microphone, so it can't hear what you're saying, and it also doesn't need access to your location, which many apps do. The words that are coming out seem to be very logical to what we're saying.
And often they're small sentences too.
Yeah.
The thing with any of these devices is that you lead the conversation. You don't get led by the information that comes out. That's when you know whether you're having an intelligent conversation or not. And I know that's going to blow people's kind of... There are issues about that, but things that come out of devices like this aren't always logical. So if you're saying, is there anyone here? Can you give us your name?
So what you look for now is a name.
And so it just said, I died suddenly.
Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. And then that's when you go, but we asked what your name is.
Yes.
Could you tell us your name, please?
Can you tell us your name? Not, I died suddenly. Oh, okay. Did someone kill you?
See how that now has led the conversation? Instead of you bringing it back to saying, thank you for that information, but the question I asked.
I asked your name. Could you please give me a name? Let me know.
Oh, now you've done it. They said they're angry.
So, okay, angry.
Oh,
just
that's
said
it.
Angry. Yeah,
They're angry that they
Did I make you angry, did I, by asking you a question?
Yeah, I like the Estes method too. If you're walking around cemeteries that don't have headstones, do you say sorry? No, you might. Yeah, I do. All the time. I'm going, oh, sorry, I'm not meaning to be disrespectful. And even if I need to sit down, I'll say, oh, excuse me, can I just sit down here just for a little bit? I'm a little bit tired. I'd appreciate that. Thank you. I always treat them like they're still here with us and try to be as respectful as I possibly can. Yeah, there are some that are a little bit sus. Go into it before you spend money on them and see, do they need access to your location? Because if they want access to your location, they will be trying to find, they'll spit out words associated to that location. So if you're in a jail, it's going to spit out words like jailer, prison, angry, murder, cell block, because it's like cheating.
Yeah.
If it's accessing your microphone, it means it's listening to what you're saying and will mimic words or give you words that are similar to what you're saying. So, and there's some very big apps that are coming out that do have access to those things, and it does make me very suspicious. Why do you need to access people's microphones and locations if it's energy that is forming the words and pulling those words out to talk to you? I don't know. Is that the Spirit Talker? If you just look in your app store and type in Spirit Talker, paranormal research device, and it's by SIG, I think. Yeah, thermal cameras are interesting.
Oh, that's what I'm after, the Echo Box. I forgot what it was called. Is it Echo Box?
Echo Box.
Yeah, don't try the necrophonic. Please
Why?
Don't try the necrophonic.
What's wrong with necrophonic?
Just sounds really weird.
Well, I've got it. So I'm just going to, out of interest, necrophonic. There it is. I'm going to see what apps, what permissions it uses. Actually, I have to go through the app store. Riveting. Talk to Renata. Necrophonic. There we go. So you go into the app and you'll go down to somewhere there and it will say...
Yeah, Justin, thank you.
What's new developer about this app?
I think people forget that we are paranormal investigators and ghost hunters, and because we do so much of the spiritual side of things and do all the tarot shows and everything, that people do forget that, this is part also of what we do.
So it says there, it's very hard to see with all those lights, but it says app permission and it's see more. So I'm going to tap on that. Oh, it just says have full full network access. I don't know what that means. It probably just means access the internet. But there was one. I'm reluctant to pull it up because I don't want to.
Don't start.
No, I don't. I don't want to.
Don't start.
Poo-hoo on people.
Yeah. Yeah.
GhostTube told me Ethan the torturer was here. Run.
Ethan the torturer. Oh, or okay. Wow, did you run?
No, we don't even run for Satan. I keep saying that. Yeah, we enjoy doing them too. Graveyards are overgrown. Echo Vox. You don't even know Ethan like GhostTube.
We have to finish up.
Yeah, we do. So I hope you've enjoyed tonight. It's been really good to be able to share some knowledge with you all. Keep an eye out for the Seriously Weird. We've got about 5 or 6 recorded. There is another one ready to go next week. And we will endeavour to, I don't know, words are gone. The Valium's kicked in. Thanks for that, Em. I should not have taken that during the show.
Look, we've had a busy week this week because we've tried to record some stuff. Anne hasn't been well. We did a show last night. I've worked 2 days. Tomorrow we're going to we may or may not record depending on how you feel. We've got a tour tomorrow night. Then we're going out to Gloucester on Saturday, spending the night at Gloucester and then coming back on the Sunday. Then we've got the Sunday show on Sunday night. So they're kind of really big weeks at the moment. It's really hard to focus on anything else than just getting through one day to the next. And I mean, we've planned it this way. It's not like we can turn off and go, no, we're not doing any of those things. But we want to do all of these things. We want to put content out, but it does mean we're kind of literally busy every day. So
yeah, we're getting there. But we are restructuring and trying to work smarter, not harder. And thank you for your questions. Thank you for being here tonight. Yes, I'm going to hit the saltwater gargles very shortly. They've told me not to do anything until 24 hours after what I've had done. So that will be lunchtime tomorrow. At the moment, I'm just having custard and yogurt and all soft foods. And we will be back with some more content, God knows when. But I'm going to go to bed now.
Tomorrow a new True Hauntings podcast comes out at 9 o'clock Sydney time. And we are going to Budapest, and it's going to be a very interesting one. So please join us on True Hauntings podcast tomorrow morning. Share it around to a friend. Let them know if you enjoy it. We're really trying to get to 500,000.
We're so close.
500,000 downloads would be awesome. Awesome. I've been following another podcast. It only started about a year or so ago, and she posted up today that she's had 1 million. I hate her. You know who it is. I hate her. I'm jealous.
Hey, we're doing pretty good.
We are doing very, very well. But yes. And yes, tickets are still available for the residents, anyone that's close by.
Yes, Friday and tomorrow night we still have some tickets for the residents and for Gloucester. So if you want to come hang out with us, do some ghost hunting. And if you do come and do the Saturday night Gloucester one, stay there in the town for Sunday and come and have breakfast with us at Roadie's next morning.
Yes.
All right, love you all.
Great breakfast.
See you on the dark side and be frightfully good.
Love you all.
Bye.